There's like an element of it. I'm not saying it's not the only way that men relate to naked women.
I'm going to let the viewers decide on this one, okay? But if they should comment on underneath this YouTube if they're watching it, and give your opinion. If you're a woman, say, do you feel humiliated when a guy takes your clothes off, right? And if you're a guy, do you feel...
It makes you do nasty things.
Don't tell us who you are, use a bogus, anonymous name.
Well, tell us who you are and send us your phone numbers.
Yeah, maybe Levy will interview you. You'll be here next week.
Just for journalistic reasons. But don't rub my tummy, because that's my weak point.
All right, go to the next thing.
Other than that, I am so strong. I am so froom. I'm so stark, so strong in my toira. But my tummy is my weakness. So don't touch my tummy.
You know why this is a good week? I like this week. You know why? I like this show.
Why?
I got a feeling that your buddy To Amalek is not in the chat room.
He's not in the chat room.
That's why this is a good show. Because you're not spoiling it with all his stupidities.
Why didn't Paro murder the midwives? They disobey him and then nothing? It's just like Germans who refused to participate in the Holocaust. They weren't killed. They were just like shipped to the Russian front.
No. Completely wrong. Okay. The reason is because he didn't know. That's why they got away with it. They got away with it because he didn't know. If he had found out that Moshe was a Jew and that these midwives had saved this Jew by putting him in the boat on the water, they would have been killed, right? Because they would be corroborators, or what do you want to say? Right? They would have disobeyed his orders. But he didn't know. Nobody ever knew, and that's why they got away with it. They did a good job. Moses got away with it. I mean, they got away with saving Moses.
Do you fear God, and if so, for what? I fear God in particular for things I can apparently get away with.
You fear God on things you can get away with from God?
No, things I can get away with from people.
Like what?
Sometimes I've been a bit of a bully with my blog, and so then I get fear of God because I feel confident in what I've written.
Like last week, when you posted you transposed something that I said in last week's Torah Talks.
But then I took it off.
And I said, oh, Levi, please take that off because I didn't want that to be in print.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if somebody's actually going to tune in and watch the whole fucking thing,
right?
But it's like, why tell them it's there by, letting them Google 3 years from now and they'll find it, right? And I was like, I don't really want that out there, and you took it away right away. And I know that must have taken you time to type out and the whole thing and transpose, and you took it away like that, and I was just surprised you did that, and I was like, thank you. And so it was because of God. So if it wasn't for a God, you would have just left it in there.
Not necessarily, but that's a powerful... Like, sometimes I feel like I'm becoming a bit of a bully, or... okay, if someone lets me bully them, let's say someone really wants to be close to me, and I start to have contempt for the person, I'll bully them to the extent that I get away with it. That's just that's my tendency, and so it's hard for me to stop that. Like, I had a girlfriend who I would just start yelling at her when she was driving if she did something stupid, and because
girls don't like that.
Because I could.
Girls do not like that.
Now, she's the only girlfriend I've had where I've really done that, but we just developed in such a situation where she kind of let me bully her, and I kind of bullied her a bit at times. It's not an attractive part of myself, but so fear of God kind of that can help stop me when I'm in a situation where I recognize I'm bullying someone, recognize that I can get away with it, but it can help pull me back.
Right. I know that you're making some progress here because I've complained many times about this chat room with To Amalek. To Amalek is a bully, and you let him get away with it. And
he's not a bully.
He's a bully. He sits there in the chat room with people who I bring. This is a serious talk, right? And I bring people in, right? I bring followers and friends of me to watch. They go in the chat room. And this guy maligns me in some of the most vicious ways, attempts character assassination against me in front of my friends. I say to you, hey, stop him. Why are you letting him do that and ruin my good name in front of my friends? And you let him get away with it. You let him get away with it. And I know that Leslie's watching, and I know that she complained about it. I know that she complained, and she stopped going in the chat room because it was getting ridiculous that this guy was asking stupid-ass questions, and you only take his questions, and she's like a legitimate viewer, right? She's there to learn something, and she asks questions that get ignored.
So that reminds me to cut and paste the chat. So Chaim Amalek's my best friend. Like, I think that the way he refers to you is the same way that my male friends rib me all the time. So I don't know why you didn't grow up where like ribbing was just like an accepted way that guys just talk to each other.
Because I grew up, that's not the Torah way. Let's just say that. That is not the Torah way. That's number one. That's like a goyish thing. Why would it say that to a Torah person? Torah, we don't act that way. That's number one. Number two is, my friends in there don't understand that. They're not part of that. And by letting him get it, even if you don't think that he's bullying, by you forcing that on, even though I've said it so many times not to do it, you're in effect, you're bullying. You are now bullying. Because you're giving him free rein against my wishes to go ahead and do all that kind of activity. That is bullying.
I went and spoke to him. I said, cut out any personal attacks on Rabs. So look, here, let me give you an example. So Rabbi Rabs talks about going to a wedding on the East Coast, and his date was this non-Jewish woman. So Chaim Amalek writes in the chat room, Rabbi Rabs went on a date with a shiksa. So like for you, that's like character assassination. For me, he's just repeating what you said, and it's like totally harmless.
No, but that doesn't bother me as much as when he writes, Rabs is ignorant. I mean, he's really ignorant.
But you call people ignorant all the time, so... Like, you dish it out. You're always dishing out, like the Reform, they're ignorant. I'm ignorant. All sorts of people are ignorant. You, like, dish it out all the time on the Torah Talk that all these different people are ignorant. So one person comes into the chat room, a friend of mine, and says, Rabbi Rabs is ignorant. What's the difference? I'm not saying I'm not arguing whether you're more accurate or he's more accurate. I'm just saying that it's
You want to know? You want to know the first difference?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to be in the chat room at the time. I can't be in there to have a chance to defend myself in front of.
He can't be here in the chat. He can't be here in the
But he's
Torah Talk.
not. This is because he's a coward. He doesn't use his real name. He has nothing to lose.
That's true.
Right? I can't call him out. He's in there anonymously trashing me and giving the impression to people who know me in there as like, I'm ignorant, I don't know this, I don't even know what's going on until later. I'm not in there with a chance to defend myself.
He's not here with a chance to defend himself.
No, but he doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. I can't sit there and say that his real name is ignorant. He's Teflon. I cannot do combat. It's a fight. It's like an army fighting against a guerrilla. You don't even see where it's coming from. It's an uneven fight. I can't